Good evening, everyone. Tonight I want to tell you a story called The Handshake Without a Pulse. It began on a rainy Tuesday morning at the city's busiest train station. Sophie, a young nurse, was rushing to her shift. She carried the warm coffee in one hand and a stack of patient files in the other. As she hurried down the platform, she nearly collided with an old man. He stood hunched over, his coat threadbare and his eyes distant. Sophie stopped just in time and reached out to steady him. Their hands met in a firm grip, but his hand felt like ice. Sophie froze. The stranger's fingers were rigid, colder than any winter wind. She pulled back, startled. He looked up at her with sad eyes and managed a faint smile. "Thank you, miss," he whispered. His voice trembled like a fading echo. Without another word, he released her hand and shuffled away into the crowd. Sophie watched him go, her heart pounding. How could anyone be that cold? Even in this freezing rain, she shook off her fear. A nurse could face 1,000 emergencies. A cold handshake was nothing. She took a deep breath and walked on to catch her train. Inside the carriage, Sophie tried to forget the strange encounter. She clutched her coffee and studied the faces around her. Everyone seemed wrapped in their own thoughts, their own warm breath fogging the windows. At the hospital, Sophie dropped her files at the nurse's station and hurried to start her shift. Hours passed in a blur of medicines and monitors. Still, she couldn't stop thinking about the old man. Why had his hand been so cold? Why had he looked so lost? Near the end of her shift, a nurse called her name. There was a patient arriving from the station. An elderly man collapsed on the platform. Sophie's blood ran cold as she rushed to the emergency room. They wheeled him in. He was the same man from earlier. His skin was pale, almost translucent. His heart had stopped before they even began their work. Sophie held his hand, and it was still icy, as though he had never left the platform at all. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered, "I'm sorry, I tried to help, but it was too late." The next morning, Sophie read the obituary in the local paper. The man's name was Mr. Roberts. He lived alone, broke, and forgotten. No family, no friends. His body has been found at the station, too late to save. Sophie folded the newspaper and pressed it to her chest. She remembered the weight of his hand in hers, the promise of warmth that never came. That evening, Sophie went home and found her own father waiting. He held out his hand, smiling softly. She grasped it and felt the gentle heat of his warmth. In that simple touch, she realized how precious life is and how every heartbeat matters. So if you ever meet a stranger whose hand is as cold as stone, remember this: you may be touching the edge of forever. Keep hold of the warmth you still have, and never take another heartbeat for granted.